want, if you're Ice Cube and Jeff Quan, that you want this competitive hierarchy at the end of the season for teams to have to play for something, to battle it out. You don't want one team, in some instances, kind of dominating, but right now you don't know. So it comes to the end of the season where every game matters.
And the best, always vulnerable, as the Triplets learned last week. Rematch of the 2019 championship, and the Killer Threes had Joe Johnson's number in Chicago.
Well, only 17 points, 8 rebounds, didn't shoot the ball extremely well, but you have those kind of games. And Killer Threes, listen, they got guys that play. They play defense. Now it's a matter of the Triplets taking that L, leaving it there last week, but coming back and saying, okay, let's get our stuff back together. We still at the top of the charts, leaderboard. Take care of our business today. We're in a great position.
Look at that number, 749 days between losses. Man, it's been a long time the last 2 years. But again, 2019 champions, the Triplets, Joe Johnson, Lisa Leslie, Alan Anderson from long range. I mean, when this team's clicking, they are still the team to beat.
Well, they are. I mean, sometimes you take a step back to go 2 steps forward. I mean, give Killer Threes a lot of credit defensively. They did what they had to do. But at the end of the day, everybody's looking up the standings and saying the Triplets are the team to beat. They dominated last year. They came back this year and kind of put an imprint on it. Can they finish out the season by having a clean slate these last 2 or 3 weeks? That's the question, but a tough challenge right here with Ghost Ball.
And the guy who finishes out games, he was the MVP 2 years ago. He's Joe Johnson. He's the greatest in league history, and here's some reasons why.
Well, listen, last game I had the pleasure of calling the game for a former teammate, Leandro Barbosa. Joe Johnson and I and Leandro were all on the same team at Phoenix, and watching this young man play throughout his career and now having the chance to watch him play here, it's been phenomenal. You can't stop Joe Johnson one-on-one. You just have to make it extremely tough like Killer Threes did to make him less efficient. Let's see if the Ghost Ballers learned anything from that and can implement that in today's game.
This is the group. We'll get a look at the response. Joe Johnson, the captain, Al Jefferson, dangerous inside, Jamario Moon, and Teddy Gibson, one of the original Triplets, going back to the days of Joe Johnson and Pargo and Gibson at Arkansas. Ghost Ballers, a 4-2 record, but facing life now again without Mike Taylor. Jimmy, he's one of the most exciting players in the Big Three. Unfortunate injury for Mike Taylor. They press on this game of critical importance in trying to get to the playoffs.
But you're losing 20 points, 5th in the Big Three in scoring, but more importantly, you lose the energy. How do you replace that? You know, maybe it's not one player, it's a multiple number of players that can give you that same kind of energy and effort and scoring that you lose from Mike Taylor. So it'll be interesting to see now moving forward how Coach George Gervin kind of fills those roles in.
Well, you go to your captain, and maybe it's Ricky Davis on this day. He had 14 last week in Chicago. They'll need him and some. The guy who was born here in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Well, one of my favorite people in the world, not just from a basketball perspective, but what he does on and off the court. You love to see the success, but now it goes on to Ricky Davis to kind of be the catalyst, scoring, leadership. You know, he's been here, he's done that before, but also, you know, Jamario Moon, I mean, not Jamario Moon, but Craig Smith, Alex Scales can come in and knock down shots. So it's a matter of not just one player, even though it's all about Ricky Davis, but can Chris Johnson, Craig Smith, Scales, and Hannah kind of step up to the table and fill that void missed by Mike Taylor.
Roster breakdown for the Ghost Ballers. We'll see who can score it in this one. This guy used to score it quite a bit. John Sally with the Iceman, George Gervin.
Okay, Ice. This is it. I'm sitting around. They asking me who's going to win. They got me betting on you. Tell me something good.
Hey, man, we ready to play, man. That's all I ask the guys, is to come out ready to play, man. We know we're playing a good basketball team. We want them to know they playing a good basketball team, too.
Okay, you're missing somebody very important in your team, and you're going against ISO Joe. What are your plans?
Go at ISO. You know, that's all we can do. I mean, ISO is the triplet, so we put a hold on Joe, we can come out with a W.
All right, I'm going with the Iceman. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, John, smart decision, bro.
Yes, indeed.
You know, there you go.
I like that. Ice says go with ISO. Lisa Leslie, Jim, the coach of the year 2 years ago in the Big Three. She was on the telecast earlier. Now on the sideline as the Triplets look to bounce back from their loss last week. Let's take a look at the key rules brought to you by Verizon. First to 50 wins. There's no game clock in the Big Three. Free throws, if you're found shooting a 2-point shot from the foul line, 3-point shot from the arc. And yes, they're the 4-point circles, 3 of them 30 feet away. Certainly what makes the Big Three the top professional 3-on-3 league in the world. Let's do it. Let's see if the Ghost Ballers can piece it together without Mike Taylor, and the Triplets get back in the win column.
Well, it's interesting, too, how the Triplets and Lisa Leslie are starting. No Al Jefferson in the lineup, a little smaller, quicker with Jamario Moon. That time, Allen Anderson able to get to the baseline, knowing that also for the Ghost Ballers, Chris Johnson loves to play on the perimeter, but right there using his size to get inside, to get himself to the free throw line.
So for the Ghost Ballers, you're looking at Johnson, along with Ricky Davis and Stefan Hanna.
Right.
6'1", never played in the NBA, played in college at Missouri, number 44 in gray, a late addition to the roster. So he's the third starter as Johnson gets the Ghost Ballers on the board. Joe Johnson, Allen Anderson, Jamario Moon for the Triplets. They're in red here in this one.
Well, Hanna played 7 seasons in the G League, but he played internationally in Cyprus, Lithuania, the Philippines, Italy, Colombia. Listen, Italy, Colombia, Cyprus. It's a great country and city.
It's a good gig.
It's a great gig. I mean, and I love Italy. So, you know, played at Missouri in the Big 12. So, maybe not the NBA experience. You see Joe right there doing what he does best, but he's played for a while.
One thing you see in the Big Three, especially with the midseason additions, it's an adjustment, but there's also that element to the unknown. Teams haven't faced them yet. We'll see if Hanna can throw a couple of wrinkles in his game here against.
But I'm gonna tell you what's known. Joe Johnson on the post is hard to stop. I mean, I don't care how you cut it that time, just creating space. But again, with the league itself, that's why you have alternates and people that can come in and play, that the rosters do change based on injuries. Again, we're in the COVID times too, so you have to be flexible.
Moon took the inbounds. Johnson drills the 3, and ISO Joe looking good at the outset. 7-2 lead for the Triplets.
Well, but Joe takes this serious. I mean, in regards to his training, off-season, all year round, he stays in top physical shape. So it's not a surprise to me why he dominates. Because this is not just a summer thing. He works on his body and game all year round.
Tipped it, missed it.
And that time Chris Johnson could have took it up because it didn't touch the rim.
Johnson and Johnson. Chris over Joe, popped down. The captains. Moon from Joe, nails the 3. So ISO Joe gets doubled. Jamario Moon sinks it. 10-2 start.
But here's the thing, Chris Johnson had he had his eyes on Joe in the post. Just giving that much space, and Joe gave it up, and Hanna right there with the first shot, able to kick it out for Jamario Moon for an open shot. If you're smart and you play with Joe, give him space, force the defense to either have to help. If they don't, Joe has the advantage, but when they do, be ready to shoot, as Jamario Moon was able to knock it in.
He's directing his guys. Now a 3. Halfway down, big rebound. Allen Anderson hustling it in. And the Triplets flexing their muscles early. A 12-4 lead against the Ghost Ballers.
Well, the versatility in Lisa Leslie's lineup allows them to be able to do things like this up early, just telling people what to do. Allen Anderson letting you know, I'm just not a shooter. I can get down in the paint like the big boys.
But the playmaking here for the Triplets.
Listen, I saw it firsthand when I played with him in Phoenix. It's his ability to attract the defense and then make the right play, the smart play. It's not always about shooting the basketball, but we know Joe can put the ball in the basket, but setting up, and here's the pass right here. Understanding and recognizing the defense. It's real simple, right? Guys open, get them the ball so they can shoot. That's the simplicity of the game.
You know, you look at someone like Joe Johnson. I mean, he was a great player, 7-time All-Star. Yeah. His teams in his career made the playoffs his last 10 seasons. Really speaks to the type of guy he was and the value he brought to his rosters. And he almost always played 80 games or so.
Oh, yeah, he was durable. You could depend on John. I remember when we were in Phoenix, he was kind of frustrated with the Suns and not offering him the contract that he thought he deserved before he left. You see a charge right there by Ricky Davis. And I told Joe, we were talking, I said, just be patient. It's going to come back around to you. The Suns didn't offer the deal that he wanted. Bam, Atlanta, guess what?
On to the next one.
On to the next one. And it paid off for him. But for a young player, at times it can be frustrating.
Right.
But he was patient enough, and his game did the talking. Hence, he was able to get multiple contracts and got paid big bucks.
17 NBA seasons for Joe Johnson. He nearly made the Detroit roster a couple of years ago. Was a late scratch. Was released at the end of training camp in the preseason. Had a really good shot of going straight from the big three to the NBA. Al Jefferson into the game for the Triplets for Jamario Moon. Craig Smith, who missed the 2 games in the Midwest for the Ghost Ballers, comes on for George Gervin. A 4-point look. Wide open, little breakdown for the Ghost Ballers. It's going to stay with the Triplets with a new 14.
I think with this lineup, too, they're going to look to see if they can get Al Jefferson. That's an easy play out of bounds. And again, simple plays like that. Joe Johnson was the guy that, how many times we said, the person inbounding the ball is the most dangerous. That time, instead of going into the corner, backdoor cut, easy layup inside.
14-4. Davis can't chip into it. ISO Joe hadn't cleared it. Anderson gets a look, nails the 3. Oh, off balance. Put 3 fingers down. A 17-4 lead for the Triplets. Davis got caught up in midair. Joe Johnson with a takeaway. There he is out of the double again. Anderson, back-to-back triples for the Triplets, and they lead big in Vegas.
Is it me, or do the Triplets make the game look real easy?
Totally.
Unselfish play. Offensively, defensively, they help each other. And again, Craig Smith missed there. It's Joe with the corner jump shot. That's why picking and choosing your personnel, speaking of personnel, Ricky Davis able to knock it in, is so critical in this. And who works well together. And everybody knows their roles on this team. And they continue that from their success they had this year. And they play the same way. And that's why they're at the top of the leaderboards and right now have a dominating lead over the Ghost Ball.
You know, you win the championship, you get to bring your entire roster back, and there is that familiarity. Anderson was one of those guys who won the ring in 2019.
But it's the unselfish play, knowing your role, doing your job, not letting your ego get involved. And again, I go back to Lisa Leslie because of the way she communicates with her, team. Their demeanor follows how she is as a coach and how she was as a player.
Hannah missing the rim. Al Jefferson with the cleanup duty. 22-7. Triplets with the lead. Their 11-game winning streak over 2 seasons snapped last week as Hannah comes up short. We're right back to business here in Vegas today. Anderson, they still need to clear. ISO Joe against Alex Scales.
Size.
Fall away. Got it to beat the clock.
Size wins, right? And Joe, patient with the shot clock. He knew where he wanted to get to. Right below the free throw line, able to knock it in. And Scales tries to answer. Let's get to halftime right here with Joe. Ball in his hands, going to make the right play all day.
Jefferson, the fake, the finish, and the Triplets just owning the Ghost Ballers. 26-7, halftime in Vegas.
Well, listen, it's a phrase called easy money. And that relates to the Triplets right here because Joe Johnson able to get to a spot and use his big body. Alex Scales, great defense, but better hold. Joe making it work inside. And then, when he's not making baskets, he's able to make plays. Al Jeff inside. Like I said, easy money once again. Triplets 26, Ghost Ballers 7.
Updated standings in the Big Three. Tri-State Trilogy, three-headed monsters, all notching wins earlier today. So along with the Triplets, each with 5 wins, Triplets can maintain their spot in first place if they hold off the Ghost Ballers here this afternoon. Lisa Leslie and the Triplets, what a run it's been. The head coach of the Triplets is mic'd up.
Don't let anybody outwork us today. Here we go.
1, 2, 3,
Defense. You can also set that back screen, all right? Let's get him on the block. Be good, be good. Offensively, we're fine, but the part that I like the most, the fact that we're hustling on the shot, we're reacting fast. That's the difference right there. And scoring fast, you're good.
You learn very quickly when you're on this Triplets team, when you're playing with the best the league has ever seen. Everybody has their roles, and they do it as well as any team in the league.
Well, accepting who you are and what your roles and responsibility is always said. It's not easy to accomplish, but the Triplets have it down packed. And you heard Lisa Leslie? That's the reason why.
Yep.
Her demeanor and how she coaches.
Coach of the Year,
yep.
2 years ago. Her team in first place. Alan Anderson. Jimmy got some really good looks and nailed it from inside and outside too.
Well, mixing up his game, not just selling for jump shots, putting the ball on the deck, rebounding the basketball. Now he gets inside and will use his size to score. So a great compliment to Joe Johnson. That's a great outlet, a guy that can knock down shots, but not only that, plays unselfish and can dance a little bit too.
Michigan State over with John Sally. John.
Hello, Mr. Anderson. So, the practices with Lisa, are they as intense as she is?
Yes, sir. I mean, they're just like a real NBA walkthrough getting ready for the game. We go through a couple plays they like. We go through our plays that we want to run, and we emphasize what we want to do for the whole game.
Well, I'm not going to, start anything, but I was interviewing George Gervin, and he said that the Triplets are only ISO Joe. Yeah. So what do you think about what I said?
Appreciate that. Keep guarding Joe. Yeah, thank you.
All right, good luck, brother.
See,
I almost got him.
John, another Big Ten guy is extremely smart. He understands it, brother.
Did you feel that way about Michigan State guys in the late 80s and early 90s, or now you can really appreciate it?
Let me tell you something. Steve Smith was tough.
He was tough. Play Big Three Fantasy only on the Super Draft app. You can win a trip to the Big Three Finals in the Bahamas. Use code BIG3 for an instant $30 deposit match. Let's do it. Second half in Vegas at Cohen. Jim Jackson, John Sally, our entire crew on Triller. Produced by Scott Brandwine, director Matt Plundo, and the gang.
Well, we'll see if any adjustments are going to be made by the Ghost Ballers, the same starting lineup starting this second half by both teams. But let's see if George Gervin kind of implements a little something different to get these guys back in the game. And Anderson, let's see again. Focus on Joe. Go right ahead. Let me do me.
This guy's got 13 points.
Little step back. Chris Johnson late to the party. 3-ball corner pocket.
So the Ghost Ballers, you have Davis, Johnson, and Hannah. Anderson, Moon, and Joe Johnson for the Triplets. Moon, a former Ghost Baller, over Johnson. Those two were traded for one another 2 years ago. Chris Johnson sinks the three. Nice step back from the big fella.
Yeah, Chris can't do that. I think you should involve him a little bit more in the pick and roll to force Jamario Moon to have to guard him. Because if you help on Ricky Davis, Chris Johnson can step back, or Hannah, he can step back and knock in those shots. And it's an easier way to get back in the game if you're knocking down threes.
Joe Johnson steps out, three-pointer blocked. Davis cleaning it up on the swat by Chris Johnson. The captain, Ricky Davis. Again, Mike Taylor likely done for the year for the Ghost Ballers. There's the double. Anderson in his spot, the three. Gets fouled and gets a three-point shot, 1 for 3 on the contact from Ricky Davis.
Don't bring the fire. But, you know, it's so hard to stay disciplined like Ricky Davis, knowing that you got a shooter in the corner, but you see Joe Johnson coming downhill and you want to help. Okay, so now you caught in between. Like, do I give up the layup or do I stay at home in the corner? You can't be in between. And that time he got caught, Ricky Davis, in between trying to help. Came out late, committed the foul.
Three-point shot. Allen Anderson rattles it in. What a game he has had, Jimmy, with 16 now. A 20-point Triplets lead. Moon denies the pass. Johnson. Anderson corner. It's not just the scoring, the playmaking, the rebounding. ISO Joe to the rim, got it up high and scores again.
Did I say something first half about easy money? Did I say that?
They just hand it to you. You don't need to go to the window or anything.
Nah, bro. I mean, make change for what? I mean, at that time, Joe got caught inside. But you got to keep in mind, Joe's 6'8", bro, with a big body. So him doing this right here makes it look easy, but this is years and years of work, but then have an extreme amount of talent to back that work up.
Chris Johnson, clean up, rolled off. Anderson, corner. Had a couple nice looks from that left corner. Look at the matchup inside. Anderson pulling Johnson out of the paint. Joe Johnson, step back. Corner three is good for ISO Joe. The Triplets rolling here in Vegas. Set a timeout on the floor.
Hey, out of that moon, you want to roll. You want to roll on that. He can't guard you. Defense, he's doing so much that is better on the pad. Actually, let's come back to 53. Come on. That's good hustle.
I'm just telling you, one of your players said you was as crazy as Gary Payton at practice yesterday.
Listen, I hate losing. I put on the Killer Threes color today to remind my team that we just came off of a loss, and we're going to have to take it out on the Ghost Ballers today. Sorry, but we're trying to get to the Bahamas. We need to go 4-0 from here, John.
I'm with him. Listen to the coach. Thanks.
I'll tell you what, Jimmy, the Killer Threes colors, that is motivational tactic, and we haven't seen very often in the Big Three.
No, that's coming from a champion on multi-levels, whether that's WNBA, Olympics. She understands how to motivate her team, and sometimes it's not what you say, it's your actions. And just by wearing that and her being at practice, made a statement, and her team has responded.
37-12 Triplets. Joe Johnson short on the three. So Scales, Chris Johnson, Ricky Davis for the Ghost Ballers. ISO Joe with Allen Anderson and Jamario Moon for the Triplets. The reigning MVP draws, kicks. Anderson with another trifecta. He's got 19 now, and Joe Johnson, maybe most impressive number, 5 assists in the game. Johnson over Johnson. Anderson, corner. How many times have we said that? Has never seen a corner three he doesn't like.
No. You know, Ghost Ballers getting some good shots. They just can't knock them in. I mean, they've had opportunities. But then, too, when you get down like this, when the other team is making shots, you tend to squeeze and press a little bit. So those open shots are not shot freely because you're trying to get yourself back in the game.
Scales, nice look. Scales drills it off the dribble. They had a great moment this week. Major League Baseball in Dyersville, Iowa. The Field of Dreams game. White Sox and Yankees. Obviously a great character from Field of Dreams. It's Moonlight Graham. Got one at bat in the major leagues. Alex Scales played in the NBA in one game. Jimmy, he played 9 seconds in a game in 2005 for the Spurs against the Phoenix Suns. Spurs won that game 97-91, November 19th of 2005. 9 seconds, I'm sure, he'll never forget. Modern day Moonlight Graham of the NBA and the Big Three.
I like that background information. Alex, and I think Alex was in camp with me in Phoenix the following year. I think he was. You know, back to the Field of Dreams team. I love that part of it. Now, keep in mind, remember hockey played the outdoor game? Where was that at? Was it in?
Winter Classic has moved around.
Yeah, but basketball, you try to figure out where that would be, but I don't know how you could equate that.
Who's your gym? It's so small.
Well, but that's at Butler.
Where they played the championship.
Where they played the championship is at Butler.
Down the road is where the high school gym.
The high school gym. Yeah, you know what I mean? So could you find a place football-wise outside that has that nostalgia? Gibson down the lane, easy bucket in the, you know what I mean?
Can we go to the Horseshoe?
Oh, well, you know, always the Horseshoe. But you know what I mean? Something that's an old, maybe, well, they do it at Canton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know, because not that it originated in Ohio, but it's an iconic kind of historic marker. I'm just trying to think for basketball and football, could you?
We have to find a place.
We got to find a place. You know, baseball, I mean, that's great, but hockey, out of scales. The basketball and football is a little bit more challenging, I think.
I think all hoop heads became really jealous because you want to find that place that can create the moment we saw. It was really special for any sports fan, certainly baseball fans, the other night in Dyersville, Iowa. Just a wonderful scene.
Maybe the Palestra.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Wish there was a place like the Forum that was still standing. And
well, the Forum is
technical foul on the Ghost Ballers. If so, then they'll get a free throw here, and that could be ended here.
You realize it's 49-19.
Yeah.
Now, the Ghost Ballers are not a bad team, but the Triplets made the Ghost Ballers look like a bad team.
Yeah.
You know? Now, you talking about being focused for the game after losing and how a team responds. At the top of the show, we talked about how would they respond. Well, here's your answer.
On cue. Teddy Gibson, the original triplet from Arkansas, here in the Big Three, wins it for the modern-day Triplets, 51-19. Safe to say what happened in Chicago stays there. They turn the corner on their only loss this year in a big way.
Flip on the radar screen, again, the professionalism by this Triplets team to come back, and then Lisa Leslie having them focus on what's important. And my man ISO Joe with John Sally, we're going to hear a little bit from him, and I'm sure he'll talk about the bounce back. And Lisa Leslie right there with the, she said she don't like to lose.
Different story today. ISO Joe with John Spider Sally.
So ISO, the plan, Lisa Leslie said she had to divert all the offense from you and go to Allen Anderson. Was that what was the idea?
Something like that, but we want those guys to be aggressive, man. We come off a tough loss, so we wanted to bounce back, you know, in a big way. I thought we did tonight. I thought Allen played great moves. Even Teddy coming in at the end, giving us great minutes. We're going to need a contribution from everybody.
All right, you only got 14 points. We're usually seeing you in the high, and your team still won. So the idea and the focus, as Lisa said, is not to lose again, but to win in the Bahamas.
But we got to take it one game at a time. We got one more game left during the regular season. Let's come out and take care of business. But I like, you know, when guys are aggressive, making shots, playing great defense. It's fun that way when everybody touches it.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson was up, Jackson was up there talking about how you were 6'8" to put the ball in the basket. You remember how Jimmy never used to pass the ball?
Who?
Exactly. Exactly. No one knows you was a passer. Good luck, bro.
Hey, John. Stop it, bro. Hey, if anything, I watch you play. You ain't pass it either.
That was a leading question
It wasn't a question, it was a statement. See, that's the thing. He led Joe into that, and Joe, who? That's what he said.
Hey, Triplets make a statement here in a big way. 6-1 record, tri-state trilogy, three-headed monsters all pick up their 5th victories here today in Las Vegas. So, Triplets end the day with a big response over the Ghost Ballers. So for Jim Jackson, John Sally, our entire crew, Hyman Cohen, wrapped up in Week 7 in Las Vegas. Thanks for watching The Big 3 on Triller and Fight TV.